That's starting. All right, doing a live. So Salient points number 31. Here we are again, right in the nick of time, getting it done. Uh,
Caught
I'm
the
your,
nick of time. I know.
uh,
Hey, this is my fault this time, so I'll admit that.
yeah, again, thanks for joining us again this week. I'm your host, Macias, along with my co-host over there.
Dalan Kirkwood. Hi, everybody.
See, I gave you the respect that time, Dalan. I gave you the co-host situations. So Salient Points is your weekly top 10 news breakdown where the points don't really matter, but they kind of do. Dalan and I mash up our top news articles for the last week, and out the other end comes out a weighted top 10 of our favorites. And this week, there was some pretty good stuff, man. The last few days, this one broke, and we cared enough about it. So with 15 points is 8-bit Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, which is actually by Koji Igarashi, who is working on the Kickstarter 2.5D Castlevania-like title, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. So he recently announced that Inti Creates, who worked on Gun Vault, Mighty Number 9, they developed a spinoff of the upcoming series called Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. So there's a Ritual of the Night, and then there's a Curse of the Moon. So we're going back to classic Castlevania naming conventions. The 8-bit styled game will be free for backers that pledged at least $28 and will go on sale May 24 for $9.99 on PS4, Xbox One, PS Vita, 3DS, and Steam. Full disclosure, Dalan, I did back this at the $28 level, so I should be able to grab this game. I should be able to have it in my life and give you guys some impressions soon. But my question for you, are you looking forward to the spinoff, or do you feel like it's just a distraction to let us know that the game proper is still very much far off?
I've actually been waiting for this game for a little bit of time now. After I found out that the creator of Castlevania, or Kojima, left Konami. And then, well, Konami was messing up. Period. They messed up real hard.
Well, I mean, they've had their issues over time, right? So it's they've had their issues with the Metal Gear Solid creator, and then this one, Koji Igarashi, which I was looking it up, and apparently he's not the creator. He just kind of happened to work on the series in the Castlevania games, and Bloodstained Curse of the Moon looks pretty cool, man. It's like a little 8-bit Castlevania 3, like sort of NES, SNES era type of game. But it looks kind of awesome, man. I grabbed it on PS4. Do you plan on picking it up, or how did it look? How did it look for you? You checked out the trailer?
I did check out the trailer on many occasions. I just haven't actually had the time to actually download it. But I actually do plan on picking up this game because I'm just a big Castlevania game, or Metroidvania fan, if you want to call it that. I like that term. But for the Castlevania-like games, after I found out that Konami had their mashup, I was actually hoping that there'd be another Castlevania game. I was just hoping they wouldn't ruin it. Then I found out one of the creators of the original Castlevania games, or at least some of the later ones, was moving to make a new game, and I was just waiting for this game for I think it's been like 3 years since we've been waiting for this game?
It's been a good while, man. I mean, I kickstarted like years ago, and I'm still waiting on Shenmue. I'm still waiting on this. Mighty Number 9. So Mighty Number 9 was sort of like a Mega Man offshoot. Like, so the same guys that did Mighty Number 9, which is basically from the guy that, I mean, I don't know his name right now. Maybe you know it, Dalan, and can help me out. But the Mega Man creator worked on Mighty Number 9 with Inti Creates, and now this is the people that are bringing us Curse of the Moon, which is out later this year. Yeah, I mean, did you try Mighty Number 9? Apparently, it kind of fell flat on its face, man. They weren't able to recreate that Mega Man magic, if you will.
First off, you're talking about co-creator Keiji Inafune.
There you go. Thank you. You're gonna be able to help me out.
Second, being Mighty Number 9 was a terrible game. It was such a disappointment. It was so sad.
You know what's funny about that game? You know what's funny about that game? I kickstarted it and have not played it, have not downloaded, have not nothing. I just like it came out and I was like, this is a pretty terrible game. I'm like, all right. I don't even know if I have the code, if I ever installed it or anything like that. I just didn't mess with it, but this looks pretty cool, man. I was looking at the trailer again earlier, and I think I probably should have gone with the PS Vita version, man. This game looks kind of hard. It looks kind of hard for me to have to sit in front of the TV on my PS4 and play it, man. But
you wanted it in its full glory, 2.5D.
Wait. Which is funny, right? I wanted it in the highest fidelity, highest quality, highest everything, but it's just. Then I thought about it. I was like, well, damn, the PS Vita has an OLED, man, and it would have been on the go. But we'll see. Maybe I can go ahead and go back and change my pledge or whatever it is. But yeah, with 15 points, that was it. That was our headliner, Dalan. What do we got next?
Next thing that we had on our list was Sony. Sony head says no hardware will be announced at this year's E3, even amidst all the PS5 rumors. The chairman of the Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios. I can't even say that's a mouthful. He's got himself a nice little title. Anyways, Sean Layden. He stated there will be no new hardware announcements at E3. Instead, it will feature deep dives into the 4 big PlayStation exclusives currently in development. And most of us have heard of these games by now with the trailers that came out. We talked about a few of them previously in some of our other episodes, being Death Stranding with the little baby, and it was weird. Ghost of Tsushima, which is basically our Onimusha shoot-off, Spider-Man, and The Last of Us Part 2. So the rumors of the PS5 are still only just rumors because I guess they have no plans to really announce that at this E3. But they did also mention that they're going to be announcing publishings by third-party companies. So hopefully we get some good indie titles that are announced this year. Because I'm down to see some new games that actually.
Yeah, and I think they're going with the different format this year. So usually what Sony does at E3 is they have sort of a big presentation of like 20 games, and they have talking heads up there talking about kinds of things. So it's kind of cool. And I'm not sure if they're still going to even have a stage this time. Maybe they might, but I know for sure they're saying, well, these are our tentpole titles. This is what's happening, right? I mean, Death Stranding isn't going to be out till a couple years, man. Like, honestly, Ghost of Tsushima is maybe, I don't know. Ghost of Tsushima we might see at the end of next year, man. Spider-Man is this year. Last of Us is, I believe, early next year. So they're kind of working in the near future as far as all that's concerned. I know what we talked about it recently, right? The Days Past or whatever that game is that Sony Bend is working on, that's been delayed. So they'll have plenty to show us, but for sure they shut down these rumors of a PS5, right? Or at least it is happening. I mean, last week we talked about it is developers do have the hardware kits. They're already working on the next generation of PS5 games, but for now it's like, why would we announce it, especially when we're beating Xbox hand over fist?
Is that how you say it? Beating Xbox hand over fist? Well, either I like the way you described that. But the live broadcast for this one is actually going to be on Monday, June 11th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So I'm not going to really watch it. I'm just going to hear about all the news afterwards. I'll go back and figure that stuff out. I won't have time that day, but I'm definitely interested.
How do you know you have your day planned out a month ahead of the time?
That particular day I do. You don't need to worry about what's happening that day. Just know I'm going to be busy that day.
Well, I mean, it's a Monday afternoon, actually. Are you going to have class or something? Let's get to the bottom of this. No, but yeah, it's Monday afternoon. I actually like the time slot, man, because I know, like, for example, Bethesda's doing theirs on Sunday, and I think it's like at 1, 2, or 3 o'clock or something like that. And then Monday morning, I believe, is when Nintendo does theirs. So those guys are really during the workday. At least Sony is like, this is a primetime event. I don't know if you saw it anywhere. I'm asking you, but did they say anything? Maybe they've done it before where you could go to a movie theater and check out their press conference. You didn't see anything like that? Or?
No, I didn't see anything like that. They're going to be having the live broadcast. That was it. Everybody's all focused on the actual E3 itself, but they didn't actually.
We're getting there, man. I mean, it's May 14. E3 is in like 2 or 3 weeks, so it's happening. We're getting all these news, and if you're done with that, Dalan, this next one, I'm sure they're gonna shed some light on this next news. Unless you have anything else to say on this one.
No, at this particular moment, I do not.
So with next up with 10 points is Retro Studios' latest project. So there's further, and of course this is rumored, speculation that Retro Studios is indeed not working on the next Metroid Prime game, but instead is working on a racing game set in the Star Fox universe called Star Fox Grand Prix. And this is according to Kotaku, quote, Grand Prix is set to be a lot like Diddy Kong Racing in that, unlike Nintendo's other major racing series, Mario Kart, this game will have a story mode and boss battles. Now, Retro Studios successfully reinvented and I would say reinvigorated the Metroid series. Do you think it could do the same for Star Fox, Dale?
Well, I'm definitely down for a Star Fox racing game, and I just love me some Star Fox, and I love me some racing games. You just put those together, you might have just created like the perfect thing.
Yeah, you're gonna be a Retro Studios fan now, right? I guess now that all this is coming into play, right?
Well, I'm going to be a Star Fox Racing fan if they actually create it well. I mean, if they put a little split second in there with some Need for Speed, hey, I'm good.
You know, for me, it's unfortunate, right? Because they should really be working on Metroid Prime, right? But
is that your issue? You want some Metroid Prime? I don't mind. I don't mind a good Star Fox game after their last Star Fox game, which was.
Well, at the very least, they've proven that they can handle these different series, right? I mean, they went from Metroid Prime to working on the Donkey Kong series, you know, Tropical Freeze and all that. They at least have proven themselves, Retro Studios, to be a kind of on the inside track as far as Nintendo's concerned. So they trust them a lot, man. It's a US based developer out of Texas, so it's kind of like. It's sort of weird that this Japanese company, this behemoth Nintendo, is like trusting them with their series, right? But yeah, as Star Fox has been kind of terrible, I would say lately. Dalan, I know you mentioned it, right? But
yeah,
it's kind of cool to see, you know, that we haven't had an F-Zero type game, so I don't know, maybe it's along that vein. Well, no, actually, no, not really. It'll be Star Fox. It will be Diddy Kong Racing 2, right?
That's what you're waiting for. You love yourself some Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before, but I was a Diddy Kong Racing fan, you know, before Mario Kart. And Mario Kart, and still like, man, you had rockets in Diddy Kong Racing, which was weird, right? So people are so used to the shells and everything. I was like, no, but I kind of like the story. I like the flying planes and the hovercrafts and all that stuff of Diddy Kong Racing. So looking forward to it. Of course, I'm a little disappointed that they're not working on Metroid Prime instead, but, you know, I'll take it. Whatever. That's fine.
Well, you're ashamed of the fact that they're not actually going to be making a Diddy Kong Racing 2? Is that what
I'm not ashamed. If anything, I'm more excited to play this Star Fox Racing game, and it'll be yet another racing game that you'll beat me at. So, and it's been made by Retro Studios, so I'll check it out. What else do we got, Dalan?
Okay, so next thing I have on my list at 10 points was this unannounced games that appeared on Walmart's pre-order page. Which was great for Walmart Canada. Apparently, they linked a bunch of unannounced games and titles on its website last Wednesday, on Wednesday, May 9th, or May 8th. I can't remember what day that was. I'm going to look at my calendar just for that.
Last week. It was last week. Continue, man. It was last week.
I decided I'm going to look at my calendar.
We're in the following week.
All right. Well, I feel like these leaks are becoming extremely obvious and very purposeful. They're becoming so common that so many companies are deciding to leak stuff.
Well, E3 is coming up too, man.
That's what I'm talking about. It's like last year.
The E3 hype train is starting. It's going.
But that's what I'm talking about. Last year, they leaked Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. They leaked Star Wars Battlefront just hours before E3 was the E3 for EA's Battlefront was actually supposed to be dropped. And then they also leaked what was supposed to be BioWare's new IP that ended up being leaked, being Anthem. So even aside from that, the director of corporate affairs, Anika Malik, I'm not sure if I'm saying her name right, and if I'm not, I apologize. Told the publisher Motherboard, Walmart experienced a technical glitch that allowed certain items to be posted on our website for a short period of time. The items posted were speculative in nature, and the only game publishers can confirm. The only people that can confirm the publisher are the publishers. I can't say that right. But what actually cracked me up, and I know you were on this for a minute because you kept sending this to me, is Rage's publisher. I think Rage was 2011. They tweeted, "This is why we can't have nice things." Mm-hmm. So that was that little hint saying Rage might just be confirmed. It's sad that it showed up on their website, but we're gonna do it anyway. Do you think this actually confirms Rage 2?
Well, they did confirm it. I don't know if you saw. You don't follow the internet. I know.
No, but I don't follow the internet like you.
No, you just don't follow it. You just don't follow it at all. So yeah, Rage 2 was confirmed. They actually did a teaser trailer, and that was part of our rundown. But you missed it. So they did do a teaser trailer, and tomorrow they're gonna be doing a gameplay trailer. But yeah, it was kind of fun, man. It was fun to see the Rage, the id Software, or they do Rage 2 official Twitter that was kind of poking at them. It's like, this is why we can't have nice things, like you were saying. But yeah, all these things are just kind of leaking out slowly but surely, and it's good that the developer, the publisher's having fun with it. But I don't know. The trailer didn't really arouse much excitement, I guess you could say, for me. I mean, I like Rage 1. I know it kind of underperformed. It really wasn't what they wanted it to be, and I think part of it was probably because it was on inferior hardware. You know, it's on PS3 and 360. So whatever they wanted to do with that series, with that franchise, I don't think it was possible at that time. So it'll be cool to see what they do with Rage 2. I mean, it looks a little too crazy, too wild, but that's really what the original was. So, you know, we just got to wait and find out. I mean, my guess is just going to be Ubisoft the sequel, right? It's going to be another open world Far Cry type again. But you didn't see the trailer, huh? Then you didn't see. We could have talked about
I didn't,
what
I
the
didn't even
teaser looked like to you. But
I didn't even see it on the rundown.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool. The very punk rock, very like heavy metal-ish. The music was terrible in the trailer, but it was very like bright and pink and gory. So, you know, we'll see what comes out of it. But I know Walmart did throw out a bunch of other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Did you get that? Like, what else did they throw out there?
They threw out a bunch of other stuff like Just Cause 4, another Splinter Cell game, Dragon Quest 2. Of course, a couple of games that were actually listed on there that people already knew about that were coming out, like Tomb Raider and things like that. But Borderlands 3 was listed on there, Gears of War 5, Forza Horizons 5.
Wait, you know what? I don't know.
After Borderlands 3, I was like, Borderlands 3? Hold up.
I think we will see Borderlands 3, man. I think we'll see Borderlands 3 announced, and we'll see Gears of War 5. At least for Gears of War 5, I think we'll just see a glimpse, though. I mean, we still are waiting on Halo, right? We're still waiting on the next Halo 6. So I think we'll see maybe a glimpse. I'm saying just as far as fans of video games, man, or people that are following it, they're waiting on Halo. So that needs to come out first, right, before the next Gears of War 5. But you know, I think we'll get a tease of that. Borderlands 3, Gearbox Software, they already confirmed that they're working on it, right? They already says like, oh, whatever you guys want us to work on, that's what we're working on. So I think we'll see that. The other ones, I mean, the thing that came out of the Rage 2 thing was that Avalanche is working on it. So, and Avalanche were the ones that were working on Just Cause. So I don't know, man, unless they're splitting their development house like that, they're supposed to be working on Rage 2 and on Just Cause. So we'll see what comes out of that. I mean, Rage 2 is pretty much confirmed, and we'll see what it really looks like tomorrow. But anything else on that, Dalan? Any other leaks or anything that this got you interested?
No, it was mainly just Borderlands 3 because I'm still playing Borderlands 2.
Yeah, we got to get back to that. We got to level up and all that. But yeah, it's a good series, and it's funny because it's really like sort of. You could have said it's like a primitive Destiny, right? Before Destiny is kind of what Borderlands was, right? You're leveling up. It's a 4-player co-op adventure. You're dropping RNG. And picking up weapons, RNG, and all this other cool stuff. So it was really like Destiny before Destiny. It wasn't as massive, right? Or it wasn't as faux massive as Destiny would like you to believe.
It didn't have as much multiplayer aspects to it. And there was no raids. It was just a game that was co-op.
It's okay if you say it just wasn't as good, Dalan. That's all right too.
What?
So with 10 points in this continuing Xbox One hardware sales saga, I think it's been like 3 weeks in a row that we keep talking about it. Microsoft really doesn't want to talk about their sales numbers, Dalan, in case that's not clear. But EA does continue to reveal Xbox One hardware sales. So this came out in the last week. It's the EA CFO Blake Jorgensen who said that Microsoft sold about 30 million consoles by the end of 2017 compared to 73 million plus PlayStation 4s. So for you math wizards out there, that means, you know, the Xbox One consoles have sold about 40% of what PS4s have sold. And a Microsoft spokesperson told Variety, the projections are inaccurate, the spokesperson said. Regardless, we are focused on delivering amazing gaming experiences to players on all devices, and engagement is our measure of progress. We just announced a record start to the year with Xbox Live monthly active users up 13% of 59 million. So, you know, EA has disclosed these clearly not meant for public consumption numbers like before. They did it last in January 2016. But, you know, I guess EA will continue to be our pseudo-official source of Xbox One sales, right? Is that what we're looking forward to?
Well, that's what you're looking forward to. I myself don't necessarily care that much about the Xbox sales. I'm just a PS4 guy.
No, I mean it's interesting. See, well, you don't follow the industry that much, but it's interesting in the sense that it's just how much the PS4 has dominated, and how Microsoft, how scared they are to announce their hardware sales number, where they're saying, you know what, we're playing by a different metric. And it's like, well, of course you are, because you can't play by the how many hardware sales. So it's interesting in that sense. And just to see how the system strategizes, and it's definitely the underdog. It's definitely at this point, it's playing catch up, and it's playing really nasty catch up.
I think it's just more so how is Microsoft going to react each time that people want to actually know how well their sales are. I mean, in this case, they just decided, hey, yes, we're dancing to our own tune. Good job, Microsoft. But being that when they're not releasing, that's basically saying I plead the fifth, and that makes everybody say, "Hey, Xbox may not be doing as well as everybody thought."
Well, it's like we plead the fifth, and it's like, no, look over here. Look at our how many Xbox Gold members we have, how many Xbox Game Pass members we have. So they're kind of like pointing the finger as like, no, but look over here. But we'll see. I mean, I just think it's funny that EA doesn't seem to care. They're just gonna drop numbers left and right. It's like, Microsoft, they've sold this many, we can sell to this many consoles versus PS4. So they really don't care. And I think this was actually the math that was done like by some of the cyber sleuths out there. I don't think it was necessarily EA saying they sold 30 million. They were just like kind of like, well, PS4 has sold this many, so this is how many behind the Xbox is, and simple math gets you the answer. But yeah,
what it actually makes me think of is PlayStation definitely not caring. They're like, all right, hey, look at how many people we have subscribed to our system, and look how many systems we sold. Xbox can't do that, so you still think
they gotta find the strategy, and it all comes down to being the perfect PR and kind of finding what your answer is gonna be, and if you can't win in this, it's like. I think it was like what's that like law adage or whatever? It's like if you have the facts behind you, you slam the facts. If you don't have the facts behind you, slam the table or whatever. Then you break the system. It's kind of like Xbox is finding their way. What is the silver lining behind all this, right? But
where the heck do you get these sayings from? I don't know.
I think I saw somebody was saying it, man, with the whole Trump thing. See, you don't follow the politics, you don't follow games, you don't follow anything. Somebody was saying
that's true. You're just looking at the surface of that. That's on you.
No, it's not. Well, I'm saying somebody on NPR, somebody said it where it's like, well, you got to figure out what your strategy is, right? Kind of like the whole Trump thing, right? It's like, well, I don't have the facts behind me, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to break the system. I'm going to find a way around it. And, it's an appropriate strategy. He is the president.
He definitely broke the system.
Unfortunately for some, fortunate for others. What else do we have, Dalan? What's next on our list?
Another thing I definitely wanted to bring up because I ended up mentioning in the last podcast, and they very quickly updated their information, was FTC. The FTC ended up going after Sony, Nintendo, Xbox, a couple other companies, and I think there were car companies, one of them Hyundai. But it was about their warranties on their systems and their products. So giving you the example, Nintendo had their old warranty stating, this warranty shall not apply if this product is used with products not sold or licensed by Nintendo. They had to end up changing that because they didn't want to get sued or shut down. Updating the language to saying this warranty shall not apply to products that have been damaged by products not sold by Nintendo. That is not limited to adapters, software, power supplies, anything like that. But it's the fact that they had to actually update it from being used by to damaged by. And the same thing happened to Sony. I'm pretty sure Xbox did the same thing because I know they ended up updating theirs. But with this change, it also comes with the fact that if you end up cracking open your PlayStation because there's an issue with it and you get it repaired by a third-party vendor, it no longer voids the warranty as long as the PlayStation was not damaged by the repair that was done. So
they were quick. They were very, very quick to update this, right? They're like, hold up. They're gonna get the lawsuits come in, all the foul play stuff comes in, and it's really interesting how quickly they act, right? Because these are big companies that are like they're very slow to act, they're very slow to turn, but with this, they're like, ooh, we gotta just switch that immediately, right? But I mean, you really cared enough about it, Dalan. That was your top vote, right? On this piece. List,
I did care. I cared just a little bit more.
Well, how would you say? I guess it would affect you. Have you been trying to open up your PS4 or whatever system that to you this is beneficial, or you just thought it was an interesting story? I guess besides
it's not
how it affects you.
It's not specifically just how it affects me. It's how it affects everybody who has a system and they want to get it repaired, but they don't want to send it into PlayStation or Xbox or Microsoft and spend $75 to get it repaired and have to wait 2 weeks for it to happen, or even a month for it to get sent back. And on top of that, there was a point where PlayStation was saying that if you send it to us and we repair it, all your data is going to be gone.
Are they still doing that with? I know with PS3 or with Vita, they were doing something like that, right? Are they still doing that even with PS4? Well, so this kind of gives you more options, right? This gives you more options to be like, you know what, I'm gonna try to mess with it with the guy down the street, and if he doesn't get it fixed, then all right, I'll send it to you guys. It gives you more options, right, to kind of fix your system. So it's a good thing, right? Consumers having more options is always a good thing. Anything else, Dalan, before we move on?
No, that was actually all I had about that. But I will say this: when you have a clause from an act from 1975 come at you in a letter, you better do something about it.
And we were very act friendly last week, right? Was it act or whatever it was? We were very law friendly on the last episode, man.
Yeah, I actually ended up bringing it up. It was the Act of 1975, the Magnuson-Moss warranty.
Yeah, and I brought up like one from 1930. So we were deep in the acts last week, man. So I know this next one then with 8 points. This was high up your list. Destiny 2 in the real world. The recent Destiny 2 Warmind expansion led a subreddit group to find a in real IRL treasure cache in upstate New York, close to where Vicarious Visions, the expansion's lead developer, is headquartered. Inside the physical cache was a letter from design lead Rob Gallinari congratulating the treasure finder and rewarding with exclusive coins to keep. So and it looked like there was a whole bunch of keys. It was sort of like in a plastic container, plastic small tub type of thing with like, it looked like there was like 35 or 40 like kind of gold, not actually, I doubt it was actual gold coins, right? But gold plated or gold colored coins. And but it was pretty cool, man. They found this kind of data inside the game, and this group of people were like, you know what, I live down the street, let me go check it out. And they found it, and they found a letter from the lead, design lead and everything. So it's pretty cool. Are we going to hunt this down, Dalan? You know, are we ever going to be in New York anytime soon to hunt this down ourselves?
Maybe you aren't, but I'm not going all the way across the U.S. just to hunt that down. I mean, I'll say, hey, take pictures, Carlos. I'd love to see it. But I did actually see the pictures that were put online by the people that actually did find it. So seeing that little cache box was actually pretty awesome. And I would think, hey, maybe Bungie should actually put caches like that all across the U.S. and let us go find them. That'd be epic.
Well, I know this one's like specifically Vicarious Visions, but I know Bungie has done this kind of stuff before, man. I know for like, I think it was for like Halo 3 or Halo 3 ODST, they were doing like the I Love Bees campaign. Like it was an internet campaign, and you kind of have to search through the internet. It's like, oh, okay, ooh, wow, they're revealing Halo 3 or Halo 3 ODST or an expansion or DLC or something like that. So it's pretty cool when developers think outside the box, right? And they're like, you know what, let's put something here. We work down the street. Let's just put something next to this tree here or something, right? So, but anything else, Dan, before we move us on?
Well, the fact being is I actually think it's very exciting because me and a group of my friends that were playing Destiny last night or the night before, we were just talking about it, and then I saw it was all over the news. I was like, oh, that's crazy.
So that's the thing. What over news? That it was not over any news, man.
It was on the news for the. You know what? I can't even talk about it now.
For the general masses, was it on the news? Are you talking about just in the news?
It was in gaming circles. I'm sorry, I should have specified that. But it was in smaller gaming circles. How people were really just setting it off in little tweets and stuff like that, and it was coming up the vine, and it hit me. I was like, "Hey, I want a cash box. Why don't you put it around over here on the West Coast? I'm ready for that." So if you want to go search for treasure over here in California, I'm down. Let's go up north.
You know, there was now that I think about it, there actually was a thing that they did. I think it was for BioShock 2 that they did. That they were talking about the bottles are gonna wash up on the beach, and I actually went to go do that, and I had like a plastic BioShock bottle. I think it was for BioShock 2, and inside it had a letter of like, oh, come to Rapture or whatever it is, or you know. So it had actually a cool little poster in it. I wonder how they got it there, man. I'm guessing they just threw them out there, and they're like, all right, we'll just throw them out there, and we'll see who comes by. But I do remember that I did do one of those. It wasn't that hard though. You know, this one they actually had to look through it wasn't necessarily through the code though, right? It was like kind of if you just looked within the game world, you could see some of these clues. But for BioShock, it was like, hey, maybe at Santa Monica, there's going to be some bottles popping up from BioShock, and I was like, all right, I'll go check it out. Fine.
Yeah, but you say this, and I'm thinking to myself, BioShock polluted? They were just throwing
That's what I'm
BioShock.
thinking, man. Well, I'm thinking, man. That's hey, you deserve the sweat of your own brow, Dan.
Good job.
What's
Good
next?
job.
What's next?
Okay, well, apparently for 7 points for mini, I can't say it now. Neo Geo has decided that they're going to be releasing a mini console. So it's like a mini. It's actually a miniature arcade cabinet set, and I thought it looked pretty cool. Coming in some of the American colors, and they actually created one that was that actually looks like the original cabinet from 1990 for the Neo Geo arcades out in Japan. So I thought that was pretty cool. But they're celebrating the 40th anniversary, decided to do this, getting on the bandwagon of miniature consoles, like Sega and Super Nintendo and NES. They're all jumping on the bandwagon. Somebody's got to be there to do it, waiting for that miniature N64. Yeah, I'm just saying.
It should come soon, man. It should be coming pretty soon. We'll see.
Okay, well, apparently this new Neo Geo Mini comes with 40 preloaded titles on it. It has the 3.5-inch display. I think it's a glass display. I was actually looking to see if it was plastic or glass.
It's another NVIDIA Shield, right? That's basically what it is.
It might be another NVIDIA Shield because I know that you have a little cabinet thing in your living room that you would actually put.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm thinking, man. I have one of those cabinets. It was for the iPad where it's like an actual the arcade stick and the arcade buttons or whatever, but you put an iPad into it. So now, and I saw images of this Neo Geo mini console, and it looks pretty cool, man. It looks kind of awesome, but yeah, it seems like it's just gonna be a repurposed NVIDIA Shield or something, or a Raspberry Pi or something.
This is what you expect, and I expect the same as well. But it actually does have an HDMI port, so I assume that you'll be able to actually plug it into your TV. It comes with a headphone port. It comes with 2 external controller ports, but there isn't any word on whether or not it actually comes with any controllers for the Neo Geo itself. But you might just have to purchase those separately. And if that's the case, oh well, I'll do it anyway. I might just play on my little arcade because the Neo Geo was actually very well known for their fighting games and their side-scrolling games. So I'm down to play Fatal Fury and Mark of the Wolves. I know that was one of the titles that was listed on there. But I guess for any real fans of the older Neo Geo games, I definitely have one person in mind, but I'm not going to drop names right now. But the fact being is that I am ready to actually play this thing. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy it or borrow it from you because
I'm not grabbing it. I'm not that big of a Neo Geo. You're going to be the one that has to pick it up. And I was like, all right, bring it over, Dan. We'll check it out. But is this coming out in the U.S.? When is it coming out? Or is it just Japan? Or what's going on?
In this case, it was actually just announced, so they didn't actually see any information on when it's actually going to be dropped.
All right, so they just this is happening. We'll give you information later.
Here's the announcement for the 40th anniversary. Be prepared. We're going to be dropping this.
Be ready for this.
Yes.
All right, so next up with 7 points, we got so apparently Deus Ex is influencing the next Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and the reason why is because Eidos Montreal, who is the lead developers on the upcoming Shadow of the Tomb Raider, are taking lessons learned from their previous Deus Ex and applying them to Lara Croft's last game in the reboot trilogy. Eidos Montreal boss David Anfonsi told GameIndustry.biz, quote, "We have developed a lot of knowledge on how to make environment or character or lighting or music convey something," and said Anfonsi. "You don't see it, but your subconscious will feel it. That is something we learned from Deus Ex a lot. And it's something we are applying for Shadow. There's definitely our signature to it." Now, I don't know if you're looking forward to the next Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Dalan, but are you good with them throwing in some Deus Ex magic into the mix?
I'm actually not sure if I'm fine with that because I know that the first reboot of Tomb Raider was actually really good. Then they had their follow-up, which apparently you liked more than I did, but I'm not going to say that it's not a good game because I never actually played through the whole thing of it. But as of right now, they have a good steamboat going for Tomb Raider. I hope they don't drop the ball with this Deus Ex theme.
They've been good, man. This series has been good. Are you a big fan of Deus Ex or no? I played the last one. I tried to get into it. Was it Mankind Divided or something? It's like,
that's just it. I did not play any of the Deus Ex games, and then I saw some. Well, I'm going to bring out a name here. Honest trailers for Deus Ex, and I was thinking, man, that's a bland-looking game. I'm not sure if I want to play that. If they bring this blandness to the Tomb Raider, I'm going to be very upset.
You know what it is? It's not that it's bland. It's that it's like a functional game. It's really about its systems and its underlying systems and how you can kind of mess with the AI and all that and the different things you can do. I mean, you're not wrong in the blandness of it, but also it's like the things that you're saying is like, man, I don't want Deus Ex in my Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I just want an action game, man. I just want a cool action game where you do some puzzles and you get over it and you feel smart after doing these puzzles and then you're good.
Well, that's a big part of it, but I also don't want them to ruin the story that is Tomb Raider. I mean, they already ended up going back to the beginning, or what they call the beginning in this case.
Well, they're rebooting it. They're doing their own version of it, and I'm looking forward to this one, man. I don't know. I mean, until it comes out, and I was like, oh man, that was terrible.
Well,
I'm looking forward to it, but
I just don't want them to shoot off in the right field like they did the movie. That's it.
I mean, the movie they kind of is based on this reboot of this recent trilogy of.
I understand that, but they still shot off in the right field halfway through the movie, and that upset me. I mean, the rest of the other parts of the movie were great, but that part of the story was, I mean, action-wise, great. She had her bow and arrow, using it unconventionally for whatever.
I should watch that actually, man. I haven't seen it. I mean, you didn't get the greatest reviews, but I should watch it actually. Seeing how kind of it plays to with the story of the game, right? With the reboot. But yeah, I mean, this game is coming out later this year. It's we've talked about it before, how it's not an Xbox exclusive this time, so at least everybody's getting it day and date, you know, on PS4 and Xbox. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little, you know, it's a little questionable that they say, like, oh, we learned from Deus Ex and we're gonna throw it in here too. I'm like, I don't know.
Exactly. It makes you stop and think, like, should I get it? As soon as you hear that they throw Deus Ex in it.
Yeah, we'll see. And there's some good big games coming out during that time too. There's Spider-Man. There's all this other stuff that's probably gonna be taking up my time. So we'll see. We'll see. I just wanted to throw it in here to be like, what does Dalan think? But I was like, Deus Ex and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I don't know. So what's our last story, Dalan?
Our last story here at very low percentage. I don't know what I did.
Just 5 points. Yeah, the points are missing. The points are missing, but I think it's like 5 points.
It is 5 points. It is 5 points.
Story, you know, but I think it's still pretty good.
All right. Well, either way it goes, we had talked previously about the Nintendo Switch having their online service that was going to be launching. And we finally got some new details about the subscription and the fact that they're going to be giving you access to the smartphone application, which is currently free, which I guess is going to be included in the subscription now. So I guess it won't be free anymore. But you'll get 20 SNES games with it. They might actually release more games down the line. But with this, they will be adding online play with the classic game. You can compete against each other or work cooperatively depending on the game. You can actually voice chat, share your screen, pass the controller if it's a one-player game, and of course that's depending on the game. So I was actually looking up the cost for these services because that got released too, being that it'll be $3.99 for 1 month, $7.99 for 3 months, $19.99 for a full year, which is going to be me because, you know, it's just me. But now they have the family plan, and I know some people were concerned about this because it blew up on Twitter immediately after I saw that, and it cracked me up. So I set some of those things aside. But $34.99 for a full year of family membership, and you could have up to 8 people on this account. Somebody was actually cracking me up saying, "Hey, I got to get 7 other friends together with a Switch, and we're going to have to share this and split the cost." So, Carlos, you going to get 7 friends together and get yourself
I don't know.
2 Switches?
It might be one of the things. Yeah, I mean, I might consider $35. It just kind of depends how it works out, right? But I'm actually I already paid for PlayStation Plus, man, and I'm happy with it. I want to see how this plays out, right? I think Nintendo's doing it in a smart way. They're doing it cheaply. I mean, I would think they would do like a free month. I would hope that you know they do a free month for people to try it out. But I mean, well, what am I saying? It's been free since last March. It's free now, but now it's going to come with extra services like cloud uploads, cloud saves, and all that stuff, which I don't know. People thought it was a big deal. And you know what? It is sort of a big deal now that I have I've had 2 PlayStation 4s for a while, and it's kind of like when I go back and forth, I like the ability to upload and download saves, cloud saves. So I think that's pretty cool. And the fact that they're adding that on there, they're doing it cheaply to kind of get people involved, but Nintendo's still pretty terrible as far as the features of online, right? The online is fine. We've played Mario Kart. I've played Splatoon on it. I've played different games on it online, and it's fine. The online the online multiplayer part of it is fine, but there's no private chat, there's no real easy way to kind of send invites back and forth. So it's sort of a hassle. So I mean, they got to do it cheaply, man. They're like, well, we're not really doing too much with it, so we'll do it cheap to start off. But I might do it. I mean, I got to see, man. I got to see how many friends get on it. I want to see what this, like the classic games, how that works out. But, I barely pay for Xbox Live Gold now. So it's kind of one of those things like, ooh, okay, I barely pay for that. And then do I really want to not really pay for a third version of online? So we'll see. But you said you are jumping in. You're grabbing the $20 for a full year. You think there's enough value?
There's enough value for that. But think about it this way, Carlos. You play Rocket League and Monopoly on the Switch on a regular basis. You don't
I haven't lately. I haven't lately, but yeah, I do Rocket League, especially when I'm on the go. I tether to my phone. So it's one of those things, like I'll do it like Xbox Live. Like Xbox Live, how I do it is like they basically have to force my hand, man. They basically have to grab my hand and say, do this. Like the last time I bought Xbox Live was because it was like $10 and it included a copy of Rocket League and, that kind of thing. They basically have to force my hand. So what would happen would be, I don't play Rocket League for, let's say, 3 weeks, right? And then 3 weeks from now, I was like, oh, I want to play Rocket League. Like, oh, I got to pay for this, so I'll buy a month and then see how happy I am during that month, so but we'll see. It's one of those things where we'll see how it goes down. I think it's something that eventually this stuff is not free, right? These servers aren't free. These services are not free. It's kind of like with PS3. We were lucky that we got that through the whole console life cycle. I mean, I guess we got it with Wii and Wii U too, right? It was free, but they didn't offer any features, so why would they charge? But with PS3, we really got to the level where they're like, you know what, this stuff is not free. And at least with Sony, they were like, all right, well, we're gonna not make it free, but at least we're gonna give you free stuff. So we'll see how this plays out. Nintendo's kind of treading lightly. At least they didn't go the full, no, it's worth $60. People have been like, no, it is not. It is not worth $60.
Okay, now one thing I should actually mention about the membership, or at least the family plan, is it does not go per system. It actually goes per account. So you can have up to 8 accounts that are actually on the family plan. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the things that might actually convince me, because I do have 2 Switch systems, but I really only use one. Now, if Nintendo is making it so, like the $34.99, I mean, it's still kind of pricey, man. But if it's $35 and you can have the same account across different Switch systems, then I might do it just for that. So I can have multiple copies of a game going, on different systems. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see when people crack it open, I guess, and they start figuring out how it really works, not just what Nintendo's telling us.
How it really works. So what they say and what they do are 2 different things.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing, Dan, this actually broke earlier today. It's sort of a big news because it was all over Twitter, but we didn't make it on our top 10. It's Boss Key Games shuts down. Which it was very abrupt. It was this morning. Cliff Bleszinski, who is Boss Key co-founder and Gears of War co-creator, his studio shuts down after Lawbreakers underperforms and Radical Heights fails to turn the studio's fortunes around. On Twitter, he mentioned that the studio is, quote, is effectively no more, unquote. And their last quote, last-ditch attempt, we scrambled to do our take on the huge battle royale genre with Radical Heights, which was well-received, but was too little too late. And, it's funny that we were just talking about Radical Heights like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Like, they were really, like, on the brink, man. They were, like, on the brink of collapse. And they were like, this thing has to be a hit. Like, within a week and a half, we need to see something incredible. And I think they did get a little bit of traction on that game. And I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know, his old stomping grounds, Epic Games, are like, can we buy that? Can we buy that thing for cheap? And, Boss Key is shut down, but maybe Radical Heights created enough of attraction, or people see something there that, it might continue. No, but for now, Boss Key Games is done. Cliff said that he's gonna take a step back. He's gonna go away from the video games limelight and reassess. And he said he'll be back in the future. But what do you think? You didn't follow Boss Key that much, right, or anything like that? I know.
No, I didn't follow Boss Key that much. But as you actually say this, I'm thinking, man, I hope that guy for Fez comes back. But
Phil Fish, that guy was kind of a jerk, man. Or he came off as a jerk on that indie movie. I don't know if you watched that, like Indie Game the movie or whatever it was. He kind of came off as a jerk. But you know what? As far as this, the Boss Key thing is interesting because it was a studio that was really focused on multiplayer, and you know, lately that's kind of what people have been saying is that multiplayer is key, right? But it's still hard, man. I know, you know, we've talked about how single player games and campaign modes are kind of going the way of the dodo. But even if you're chasing after, like he was talking about, Radical Heights was kind of like their battle royale take on, you know, on the genre. And Lawbreakers was also a multiplayer heavy game that looked kind of cool, but you know, at some point it came down to like there was like 3 people still playing the game, you know, in the about a year after launch. So it's pretty hard, man. Whether you're making multiplayer games or campaign single player games, it's a tough business.
Well, the thing about just making a multiplayer game, though, is if you don't have the visual lore, people start to get disinterested in whatever the heck was going on in the game. Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Well, the visual lore, but you need an audience. You need the gameplay there.
I understand that. I understand that, but people get bored of that hook if there's no story behind it. The same thing actually happened with Battlefield 1. Even though everybody knows about Star Wars, everybody wanted a campaign and they didn't get it. What was it?
Battlefront, but we've both been messing up Battlefront and Battlefield.
No. I'm talking about Battlefront. I'm talking about Star Wars.
No, I know, but you said Battlefield 1. I'm just saying we've been mixing it up over the last few weeks. But yeah,
Battlefront 1.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, you're right. And I think there needs to be kind of an anchor, right? That needs to be part of it. So, I mean, the interesting case study will be with the next Call of Duty, whether it really needs a campaign to kind of propel it forward.
Well, my word is not anchor in this case. My word in this case would actually be they need some sort of a variety that actually keeps the balance to the game, that keeps gamers coming to the game.
Whatever you want to call it. Then if you don't like anchor, then tentpole, then one of the pillars, whatever you want to call it, man, it's fine.
A pyramid, you need a stick of it.
Whatever it is, man. I'm just saying one of its components, right, or whatever you want to call it, right? It's one of those things where, and I think it's true, but then there's those cases where, you know, Fortnite doesn't have a story, PUBG doesn't have a story, and these games are games that have been successful, and people kind of make up their own story. So, you know, I think you're right. Some games do require that story, that campaign to get people hooked into it, but that's not necessarily the case with everything, you know. And I think if anything, multiplayer games might be a little even harder, man, because you got to get servers going. You have to have a captivated audience. Whereas, you know, an indie studio can be like, all right, we're going to make a 5-hour story and campaign, and 10,000 people play it and buy it and enjoy it, and they're good, right? But as far as
just have a concept just so awesome that you just keep playing it, i.e. Rocket League.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. But it's not easy. It's not easy, and you know, unfortunately, Cliff Bleszinski, he came off of Gears of War, and even I think that's kind of the big deal in this thing, right? Is that he's such a known quantity, and he's kind of like, oh, what's he working on next? And even him, he still wasn't able to get a hit going, right? It's just, and I think that's part of the disease, if you will. I don't know what you would want to call it, right? With Microsoft, is that they haven't been able to figure out their next hit, man. I mean, if they've worked on different things over the years, Sunset Overdrive, Crackdown is one that's kind of like, you know, it's sort of, they're trying to make it a hit, but it's really not there, and I love it, man. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Crackdown, playing co-op and looking for the orbs and everything was incredible. But it's one of those things, just making hits, whether it's campaign or multiplayer, is one of the hardest things.
You're talking about that dark cloud that's hovering over innovation and creativity. It's missing. Things are disappearing into the snow.
Well, I mean, it's we all have limited time, right? We all want to see the NBA Finals. We all want to see the playoffs. We all want to go to school. But there's a lot of things pulling for our attention, right? And it's kind of like it's just hard to do it, you know? It's very – so it's kind of like hitting catching lightning in a bottle, basically.
Right.
You know.
So
before we get out of here,
I'm going to move on to my one. I had one final one that I wanted to bring up. My plus one. That's what I'm going to call it right now.
There you go.
It's more so just a quick announcement, being that Square Enix, after 3 years, is deciding they're going to make their own little showcase for E3 here in 2018. They announced that they're going to actually be there on June 11th at 10 a.m. and again at 1 p.m. I guess they're doing it 2 more times for the Eastern Hemisphere. But West Coast. Those are the two times we're actually.
That's actually not how it works. I'm looking at this like they're doing it 2 times. No, Dalan. It's 1 p.m. on the East Coast and it's 10 a.m. on the West Coast. It's the exact same time.
No, here's the thing: is that that on their website it said that they're going to be having 4 showings of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but when you see them like that,
I mean, put up the times. Yeah, I know they're 3 hours apart, but that's not my fault.
If you count it back, Dalan, it's 10 a.m. Pacific, then that means 11, 12, 1 p.m. is Eastern time.
I understand how time zones work.
I don't know if you do. But anyways, what are they planning on showing? What's going on with Square Enix?
That's a good question. We don't know what they plan on showing. They just announced they're going to be there. They haven't confirmed any games for their highlight. They just said we'll connect you to many worlds within our universe. We understand that. That's all they said.
That's all they need to say.
But I am down to see updates for some of their games, even if they're not like major updates. At least we get some information coming our way. I mean, they got Shadow of the Tomb Raider, like we talked earlier. That one's coming out. We don't have too much more information on that. I'm sure we got plenty of information for Shadow of the Tomb Raider, though, because I'm going to buy that regardless of what happens. Kingdom Hearts 3, they like to slowly roll out worlds, and we don't know what else is actually coming out.
Well, they said 2018 on one of the trailers, man. I don't know how true. I wouldn't put a lot of stock in that.
Yeah,
but
I know.
They did put 2018 on one of the trailers. Yes, a mountain. You want to take it with the mountain of salt, man. What talking about? Even if they put it in a trailer, 2018, it's like take it with the mountain of salt that Kingdom Hearts 3 will be out by the end of the year.
No, the one you take with the mountain of salt is if they decide to make an update for Final Fantasy VII, the remake. That's when you take with a mountain of salt. After what they did with Final Fantasy 15, you just take that mountain of salt, put it in a box, put it in the closet, forget about it. See what happens.
I mean, if you're saying like an update about Final Fantasy VII remake, we might. Why not? We'll see an update. What I'm saying is Kingdom Hearts 3 releasing this year is another thing that is to be seen. But it is a fair point that you said that I don't think they've had a Square Enix show, so they must have something to show, man. I mean, it's like you were saying, Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they're going to actually give a massive update for Final Fantasy VII. Maybe they'll even show an actual video of what
they've been doing.
Because after that whole hiring. The whole hiring escapade that they went on. I'm hoping that they actually got some good stuff out there and they threw up some fair ideas. And if anybody wants to watch it, I know I want to watch it. Also being
you gotta make time for that one, but not the Microsoft one. Not the Sony one.
No, it's one of those that once it happens, I know I'm gonna rip it from YouTube and watch it later. Being that it will be live streamed though on that day on YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, which I don't know what Mixer is, Twitter, and Facebook.
Whatever confused time you think it is. But yeah, so that's Salient Points number 31. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Carlos Macias. You guys can find me on Twitter at aduseclean.com. Wait, what? No, Twitter at aduseclean. Sorry about that. Dalan, where can the good folks find you? On the interwebs.
Anywhere. I'm going into the darkness. No,
yeah, you're not on the internet. Yeah, we get it. We understand. You're like our what do you call it? The dodo of the show. I don't know. There's another word.
I'm extinct. You just called me extinct. Straight up.
So thanks for today. But you know what? Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3, man. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I think that looks awesome. I don't know if 2018 is the time we will see it, but when we do see it and it does release, I beat 1 and 2, man. I got down with them. I even got the little side quest ones. I don't think I've ever beat any of the side quest things, but I did get down with 1 and 2. They were quite good, quite excellent.
I sleep in 385 in 2 days or whatever.
Yeah, 385, 2 minus 2, sleep over sleep. 757 plus the minus 2.5 times 3
over 395 times 365. They really did. I need to think about those far better than what they had to change.
At least Kingdom Hearts, they had the decency to just call it Kingdom Hearts 3. They were like Kingdom Hearts 3. Otherwise, yeah. Other than that, we'll see. We'll see what they call them. 362 minus 2 over 3 parentheses 12 to the power of 10.
That being said, I'm logging off, Carl.